The story of how I called off a wedding, and why it was the best decision of my life. I'll start by saying that the events you're about to read happened quite a long time ago, and I now feel ready to talk about everything that happened to me. Not many of my friends or relatives know this story. For privacy reasons, I will change names and places. Fair warning. The story is long, but interesting. I'll try to avoid unnecessary fluff. The beginning. After returning from the army in 2016, I met a girl. Let's call her Sveta. We had seen each other before in mutual social circles, and she seemed interesting to me. After a long period of courtship on my part, we eventually realized we were dating. She took relationships very seriously. Not that I was careless, not at all, but it took at least 6 months before she agreed to appear in public with me. As a couple, during our relationship, I often witnessed strange behavior from Sveta. Sometimes I saw how she communicated with her mother, whom we'll call Olga, literally throwing hysterical tantrums over trivial things. Honestly, I didn't see this as normal, but rather as something manageable. Surely she wouldn't behave like that all the time. I was very wrong. The longer we were together, the more warning signs and red flags appeared, but I ignored them. Sveta had been raised like a princess. Her mother and some relatives literally called her that, and she behaved accordingly. At times it felt like only her desires and needs existed in her world. She demanded expressions of love in the form of gifts and flowers. It wasn't about money. It was her love language. Unfortunately, as future events showed, that was the only language she spoke. The proposal and wedding preparations. I don't really know why, but in 2017, I proposed to her. I wasn't well off financially at the time. I worked and earned modestly, but I managed to buy a gold ring with a diamond, a small one, but still a diamond. Her response was that her friends had bigger stones. The fact that their rings had cubic zirconia didn't matter to her. This was very telling, because almost everything she did was about image and competition with other girls. In her social circle, the circle was Y, at least until the summer of 2018, but more on that later. From the moment she accepted the proposal until the planned wedding date, almost 9 months were supposed to pass, but the wedding kept getting postponed. First, my grandmother passed away. Then May came, and Olga turned out to be even more peculiar, saying, "If you marry in May, you'll suffer your whole life." She had no idea how right she was. Wedding preparation is always a serious test for couples, especially those who should never have met. Constant arguments, Sveta being offended over everything, hysterics. None of this made me happy. But I understood that it happens. I supported her as best I could. I wasn't perfect, I made mistakes, but I tried my hardest. Eventually, we rented an apartment that Olga approved of, and there was less than a month left before the wedding. Preparations were in full swing, and so were Sveta's emotional outbursts. She regularly dumped part of the responsibilities on me because she was tired. Strangely enough, everyone was tired. I took on as many freelance jobs as I physically could. I worked from home and tried not to lose my mind from the performances Sveta put on. The turning point. One fateful day, we decided to make wedding invitations. Sveta is an artist, a very creative person with a capital C. I understood what this could lead to. If anyone other than her handled the invitations, she would most likely hate the result, causing massive psychological damage to everyone within a several thousand-kilometer radius. I tried hard to convince her to design them herself, but she said that I knew Photoshop and she didn't. I suggested we do it together under her guidance. She refused, saying she would control the process remotely via messages and screenshots. That day, I tried to work while also designing the invitations. Am I a designer? Absolutely not. I never claimed to be. Over the course of the day, I made about 15 revisions. Her messages with instructions were accompanied by insults that kept escalating. What finally broke me was when, after more than 20 versions, she wrote that her mother Olga had saved the situation and made a proper invitation design. Even I could tell that Olga's design was, to put it mildly, far from ideal. She backed this up by calling me incompetent, stupid, and incapable of doing anything myself. I had tolerated things like this before, but this time it was the final straw. I told her I would come over in the evening and that we would have a serious conversation. I didn't want this kind of behavior in my future family. After that, Sveta instantly changed her tone, telling me everything was fine. that she had lost her temper, said too much, and there was no need for me to come. But I couldn't be stopped. The insult-filled tea party. I asked my parents to come with me. They treated Sveta well. We arrived, sat down for tea, and my father calmly said something like, "We need to respect each other. Sveta went a bit too far today. Our son is also at fault, and we want everyone to calm down and finish preparing for the wedding." At that moment, Olga exploded into a hysterical rage, accusing us of attacking her daughter in her own home. Everyone except Sveta tried to calm her down, but she wouldn't stop. I have had a stutter since childhood. Olga knew this and began openly mocking me for it. I had heard worse insults in my life, so it didn't hurt, but her intentions became clear. She wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone. As we were leaving, Sveta appeared in the doorway, took off her engagement ring, and deliberately showed it to me. I didn't tell anyone. I don't think anyone else noticed. The most important decision. On the way home, I already knew I had gotten involved with the wrong family and that I didn't truly know this person. My parents asked me not to rush and said things would settle down, but I think my decision was already made. I came home, sat on my bed, and told them there will be no wedding. After hearing everything, they realized the situation was even worse than they thought and supported my decision. The final conversation. I asked Sveta to meet me at a coffee. She refused and said she would only talk at her home, clearly on her mother's terms. When I arrived, I saw Sveta leaving with a friend. She told me to wait 3,060 minutes while she went for a walk. Soon after, Olga called me sweetly and invited me in for tea. I refused. When Sveta returned, we went upstairs in silence. Olga pretended to be polite at first. I immediately said, "I think everyone understands that the wedding is cancelled." After that, all pretense ended. Olga unleashed a stream of insults at me and my family. Racist, hateful, unhinged. I stayed silent. Outside, I told Sveta everything I had held inside for years. I reminded her of the ring incident. She barely remembered it. I told them I would not change my decision. I said I didn't want to build a family on such a foundation, that there was no love, only devotion to Sveta, without reciprocity. I thanked everyone. Even Olga received more insults in return, left the building, and cried, probably for the first time in 10 years. Out of relief. Aftermath. We agreed not to spread rumors. Olga ignored that agreement and told everyone her version of the story. Despite this, most of our mutual friends sided with me. Many admitted they had known what kind of family it was and were waiting for me to see it myself. Olga tried to sabotage my studies at a university where she taught. Eventually, I left voluntarily. She later told everyone she had nothing to do with it. And honestly, ungrateful I escaped. A happy ending. 2 months later, I met a woman I had known for years, but only truly met then. She saved me. We married quickly and have now been together for over 5 years. We have a growing family and a healthy, loving relationship. She showed me what real love looks like. Moral of the story. If you see red flags, don't ignore them. Listen to yourself. If something feels wrong, it probably is. If you're in a relationship like this, you just haven't met your person yet.